Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents The Sports Cage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Regina Motor Products. Visit Regina Motor Products today for a no-charge brake inspection and save up to $120 off GM genuine parts, brake pads, and rotors. Offer ends May 31st at Regina Motor Products only. Be part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The Sports Cage. Streaming at sportscage.com, our YouTube channel, and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Go, deep voice guy lets us all know we got 3 hours of sports talk for you here. Curtis is with me on this Wednesday for Regina Motor Products, and we are going to roll. It's going to be quick coming at you. Training camp report with Dave Thomas in about 4 minutes time. We got some NHL audio. What a game last night. Who had Vegas sweeping Colorado? Liars. Turner Ottenbreit, former Seattle Thunderbirds captain. It's an interview from the Monday Nooner podcast. Since the Memorial Cup is on, there's a big game tonight. We're going to hear from Turner Ottenbreit. We had a chance to interview the young Calgary Wrangler. He talked about his time with Seattle and going to the Memorial Cup in 2017. Very interesting how a young mind thought of that tournament. And also we talk about that great series with the Regina Pats in 2017. So a little bonus time for you there from the Monday Nooner. Eric Francis, NHL insider from Las Vegas at 1. He's coming up in hour 2, sorry. Clutch Performer Sprinkle of the Day. More training camp report, this time with Luc Mullinder in hour 2. We are going to hear from Scott Schultz in the midweek soundbite in hour 3, and more Rider audio from Dave Thomas. And then at the end of the show, we are going to talk to the general manager of the Waskesiu Golf Course, Tyler Baker, our first installment of Prairie Golf Gems. Waskesiu Golf Course open today, and some interesting news around that course with Tyler in hour 3. So that's a sports program for you right there. All of our guests join us on the Western Pizza guest hotline, where we have an abundance of Western Pizza at the office today because it was a big celebration of some sort, or some big wigs were in town. So they ordered Western Pizza lasagna, Western Pizza salad, Western Pizza dry ribs, and of course that pizza, and there's a bunch left over. So in between segments could be a run down to the cafeteria kind of day. We like you to participate and let us know what you're thinking on the Prairieland Rentals text line. That number is 936-6262. 936-6262. Prairieland Rentals, located at 600 Albert Street. Husqvarna dealer. Anything you need for the lawn or garden right now. And then if you don't want to buy it, they can rent it to you as well. You get to deal with the owner there. Maybe you have some questions for Dave Thomas or Luc Mullinder. We'll ask those for you if you text him in at 936-6262 on the Rough Rider training camp. Las Vegas, Golden Knights. Isn't it funny? It's been 9 years, and they're going to the Stanley Cup final 3 times. Now, you don't need to be a hockey fan. You don't need to be a Golden Knights fan. You don't need to be... There are teams, as we know, that haven't been to the Stanley Cup final in a long time. But last night, Vegas sweeps this Colorado Avalanche team, where when we started this whole thing, and I had the NHL experts on, and we were talking about our drafts, and we were talking about our sprinkles, and they were like, well, it's Colorado. Like, no one's going to beat Colorado. Isn't that the case every year? Isn't it? That there's always a team, it's like, well, no one's going to beat Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is going all the way. No one's going to beat Dallas. But here we go again. A President's Cup winner not making the Stanley Cup final, will not win the Stanley Cup final. The last team to do it, and this has been out there a lot, the Chicago Blackhawks in 2013. That is 13 years ago, if I'm doing my math correctly. King George School. Shout out. I didn't go very heavy on Colorado. And I don't think it's because I was like, oh, they're going to, the curse, the President's Cup, they're not going to do anything in 13 years, yada, yada, yada. I think it was just more and I said it on the show, when I looked at the makeup of that team, and I was like, yeah, Nathan McKinnon is like, he's got extremely fast feet. He's an awesome hockey player, scores a lot of goals in the regular season. Is he going to be able to do it kind of all in the playoffs? Well, Barn, but they got Landeskog. Is he the same player? Yeah, but Barn, they got Kadri late. Yeah, okay, but is he going to be your turning point in the playoffs? Cale Makar gets hurt. That sucks. It happens in the playoffs. I just don't think they were deep enough. Maybe they were. Maybe they were deep enough, and then their depth guys just didn't perform. That's what I'm going to ask Eric Francis, what he thinks. What's the vibe around the NHL pundits? Is that the case here? Jared Bednar, is he back? Why wouldn't he be? He's doing a good job coaching, I would think. But maybe they need a change of voice there. And then you have Vegas. John Tortorella. He's been there like a couple of weeks. Doesn't even know his way around. Got this veteran-laden team. And that's one thing when I started picking my Keniston Super Draft, and I'm going through my Nick Dowd. I'm like, not that Nick Dowd is going to fetch you big money on the open market if you have his rookie card. But Nick Dowd's a solid player. Colton Sissons? Like, that guy's been in the league forever, veteran experience. Then they got Kolazar. Then you got Mark Stone playing on a third line. That was the whole thing when they signed Marner back last year in the summer, and we talked about it on the show, and they're like, I forget who our NHL expert was, and they said, yeah, but now you can put Mark Stone on the third line. Great third line player. Weird knob on his stick for sure. Probably needs to do something about that salad. But what a goal yesterday. What a playoffs. He's the captain. He's the rock. If I think I was going to buy a Vegas Golden Knights jersey, it'd be a Mark Stone jersey. And you got a Mark Stone Brandon Wheat Kings jersey. And then you got Carter Hart. I'm going to ask Eric about this, because when we watched the Vegas Golden Knights together, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, right before the playoffs in Vegas, and Carter Hart, I'm like, he looks so small. He can't carry this team. They're going to struggle in goaltending. Wow. Egg on face. I had no idea what the heck I was talking about there. Carter Hart has looked so good. He's better. He's been better every game for the Golden Knights. So, yeah. Do you want to talk about that? 936-6262. And then Hab fans. Who am I? Whatever. Doing a radio show in Regina, Saskatchewan. I think they have to win tonight. Have to. There's no coming back, down, going to rally. It's got to be. It's got to be one tonight. Curious what you think out there, looking at all those Hab fans out there, or the people that don't like the Habs, probably cheering for Carolina. We'll take a look too. Curtis and I will take a look at tickets. What is the get-in price in 2 hours' time, or whatever it is, 3 hours' time in Montreal? Love playing that game. Pulling it up right now. Habs aftermarket tickets. Just a singleton, going in by yourself, making new friends. Oh, that is amazing. I almost feel like this is a misprint. You can get in tonight for Game 4 for $461 Canadian. That is not a bad price at all. To be in that atmosphere in Montreal, mind you, getting there from Regina, tough, but you're getting into the atmosphere. You're right in the mixer for $461. And if you want a really good, like a good corner lower bowl seat, maybe you worked harder in life, you got extra money, made some good decisions, some investments, you can get into the lower bowl in the corner for $987. $987. Interesting. Talk about that more as we go along here, but we'll go to break and we come back. Rider football. Rider training camp continues at Mosaic Stadium. Dave Thomas will be with us. It is the Sports Cage, streaming through our YouTube channel at sportscage.com. Saskatchewan Roughrider 50/50 runs all year. Riders5050.ca. We'll be talking about it here all year. So, yes, we aren't playing a game with a 50/50 until the 13th, and the cutoff's June 9th for the early bird, but you might as well get in because you'll forget about it, and then it's going to be June 10th and be like, see, I forgot. 10 p.m. June 9th is the deadline. Riders5050.ca, because the early bird prize, Summer Rocky Mountain Family Getaway. Package includes 3 nights at the Malcolm Hotel in Canmore. Never heard of it, but it sounds fancy. It sounds like a hotel. They don't have the bars of soap that it takes forever to unwrap. Probably got the push ones. An Iceland adventure and ride on the Banff gondola. I did that when I was a kid. That was pretty cool. I remember. If you say, the heck with the Rocky Mountains, I'm staying here in Sasky, love the wind, you can take $3,600 cash instead. Riders5050.ca. Somebody messaged in yesterday, and I didn't get... Oh, I know who. It was Roscoe. Old Roscoe. From Kindersley, Saskatchewan, said they haven't been able to get the Rider scratch ticket 50/50 in Kindersley. I thought that was very interesting. So I know a lot of people that have bought them. A lot of people have texted in saying they bought them. They've won a few things. I won't divulge. But yeah, the Rider scratch ticket is out there at your Lotto Spot retailer. Text messages 936-6262. This one came in late, but I do want to give a shout out to Colin Lovequist today. It was Don Williams' birthday. So Colin, I didn't catch it, but he said he played an hour of Don Williams, who is one of my favorite top 5. We all know Roxette's number 1, but Don Williams would be the top 5 of my Stranded on a Deserted Island Greatest Hits CD, which would make him one of my favorite artists. Don Williams would be in there. I don't know what my favorite Don Williams song is, though, but I love it. It is training camp for the Riders still, believe it or not. And our training camp reports are brought to you by the Red Zone Sports Bar, located behind the Saskatoon Travelodge. Go watch the games. Lots of screens, good food, pints, good laughs, always entertaining. The Red Zone Sports Bar. Dave Thomas joins us for our first hit today. David, it was a windy day down there in that. If you've never been on the field at Mosaic Stadium, when it's windy, it can either feel like there isn't much wind or this like swirling weirdness like you're in a Wizard of Oz movie thing. Which one was it today?
It was a cooling breeze for sure. And yeah, it was kind of swirling around a little bit, but yeah, it was good.
With the wind, a lot of times in Sasky, but around the league, special teams is key. We haven't talked a lot about special teams for this year's Riders. We have talked about the kickers, but when we look at the special teams, what's jumping out? How does that look for the squad?
Well, that's interesting because special teams coordinator Kent Majuri is likely the busiest coordinator right now out of the 3 of them on the Saskatchewan Roughriders coaching staff, because not only is he tasked, which he does every year, right, assimilating the American players with the nuances of what special teams are going to look like, right? That's what he's got to do. He's got to teach the halo rule. He's got to teach, hey, there's 12 guys, your lanes, all that stuff, right? The blocking, the delayed rush pattern if you are on the punt cover team. Again, the list goes on and on. So dealing with that, but then he's also got the perfect trifecta, if you will. He's got to evaluate a long snapper, a punter, and a kicker. And so he has been extremely busy. And today, the special teams were working hard. And, every once in a while, I don't know how you are with math, Barney, but when I go back to my math days, I was pretty good. Like I got like 99% in high school math. Pretty good. But there's times that I don't trust it, and today was one of those days when I had to look, and like I've been counting, and I still don't believe that I just saw a 72-yard field goal kicked. But Jonathan Kim hammered one from 72 yards, and if you do the math, that's from your own 38-yard line. Am I right?
You got 99, man. Here's a math. You want a math story in high school? In grade 10, was it algebra or math? Whatever it was in grade 10. I was going into the final exam, and I needed to pass the final exam to pass the class. And the teacher said, she was her brother played in the WHL. She didn't like me, whatever. And she said, "Hey, you don't pass this final, you don't pass the class." Kind of smarmy. And I threw her a button hook, and I said, "Oh, that's all right. I'm already registered for your class next semester." And she hated me so much. Bait and switch. Speaking of math, let's you have something from Coach Mace talking about Jonathan Kim hitting a 72-yard field goal.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, just the reality of it is I'm a big trust guy in faith, and sometimes you like to build it up, before we get to the regular season. We've been known to go out and trot those guys out there for long ones because we have faith in it. So trying to get a little bit of, understanding what these guys' true range is, and certainly in conditions like this, but also, we'll execute, regular D&Ds on that, but sometimes it's a little added pressure when it's for the gusto.
I think it's because you kind of led into that with their consistently practicing or trying them from plus 60, right?
Yeah, like that was my question and again, it was kind of twofold. Number one, is it an evaluation tool to see who can kick from 60 and who can kick from the furthest or what the case may be? Or is there more to it in the fact that in 2027, the field goal post moved to the back of the end zone, right? So that does make the field longer when it comes to a field goal kicker. So are you trying to go ahead and establish right off the hop that, hey, while we're evaluating someone for this year, we also need to make sure that they've got a good leg that can make those long distance field goals? So that was the answer. And you can kind of hear Coach saying, well, yeah, we are evaluating everybody. I am getting a sense and feeling like, where can I go? Who can I count on? Right. Because you don't have Brett Lawther there. And there was such a component of trust between Brett and the coaching staff and head coach Corey May. Say, I know I can trot him out for X yards if I need it at the end of the game. I know that we need to get to X spot in order to get there, right? And so that's kind of the idea with that question and the understanding of why are we always going for these 60 plus? Well, A, they can make it, and B, we find out whether or not they can make it when it's a pressure-packed situation. And so far, so good. And like I say, I counted 3 times to make sure that my math was right.
It's, when you talk about that and you think about the game and how, in a way, it's going to change next year. Obviously, field goals are going to be longer, or you're giving up field position. There's no doubt about it. And then, Dave, we go back to when Steph Curry came on the scene in the NBA and was just raining in threes from everywhere. And it was like, well, no one's thought of that. Or hockey, how they do the slingshot, which you see, it to break into a zone on a power play. And it's like, well, we never thought of that. Probably Dave King, who invented the cycle back in the day down low. You think about, okay, well, the game is going to change. So maybe to the Steph Curry point, it's going to be commonplace that we see kickers that can put them in from 70.
Aren't we starting to see that in the NFL already, right? Isn't that where the trend is starting? Again, if you can go ahead and eliminate essentially half a football field, you do it. And so that's kind of what's being evaluated right now. And, Coach said there's a possibility. They've kept 2 kickers before. Maybe you keep both Jonathan Kim and Alex Hale. Again, that's a decision to be made coming up on the weekend. And in a conversation I had with Kent Majuri, I was just like, how minute are the details that separate these guys? And like even down to the long snapper, right? Where the laces are. And we're not talking like laces in, laces out. We're talking like millimeters one way or the other, the sway point, right? The direction, the angle. Absolutely everything is under the gun right now because these are all quality athletes and they all have made a statement and shown that they can do it. And like I say, Kent Majuri, after our conversation, had to run directly, not to go ahead and watch his son play 3-on-3, which he does, but to get ready for a meeting that he has at 1:30. So he had a meeting 50 some minutes after we spoke and needed to get ready to go. And again, just the video work, everything, like you may think it's just running down the field 100 miles an hour and making a tackle in a collision platform. It's so much more involved than that.
Coach Majuri looked like he's still lifting, though. Is he getting in his lifts?
Oh, for sure. 100%.
Biggest
Absolutely.
Arm. Big guns. Big arms. Yeah, if I had arms like that, I would seldomly wear a jacket. Like if you're watching the stream, he's wearing one there. You did have a one-on-one with Kent Majuri we're going to get to in a bit here, Dave. But the other thing I want to ask you about, maybe we'll run the Coach Mace clip here, is it was a padded practice today. Coach Mace on that.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Just a good just to mix it up. I'd like to get it more often, but just always be cognizant of who's available and what kind of work we're going to get. But today was a good day.
Your comments, you were there watching it, padded practice. Good day?
Big time one-on-ones. They really went all out today as the offensive line definitely getting in their work. And Jamarcus Hardrick isn't or wasn't on the field again today, but coach says don't worry about it. He'll be fine come week number 1. So you take him at his word. But some of the younger players definitely hyped up their emotion and their intensity levels, knowing that, hey, there's not going to be a lot more of these padded opportunities to get out there and get after it. So showing physicality is definitely what you started to see from, again, the offensive line was most noticeably working very, very hard at technique and physicality. The defensive line, they stepped in as well. The run game was on display as well today, as again, that's what you need, those pads on for that. So it was very spirited. It was intense. It was intentional, I think is the other word to use, but it was a good day, I think, to break up the week, right? Because you got 5 full practices before you head out on your bye week. So I think it was a good tool to go ahead and make sure that everybody was fueled up. You know what I mean? Like there's just that intensity when it's time to go.
Michael on the Prairie Land Rentals text line says, I'm out here seating, listening to the show. I missed it yesterday. Can you ask Dave how the front 7 is looking on defense?
Front 7, I like the way that they're looking right now. Justin Weaver, a player that I was intrigued with, caught my attention, of rookie out of Kentucky. He played well, performed well up in Saskatoon. He's just been out the last couple of days. I thought that I saw him on the field for a moment today, but then again, that was my eyesight. Again, questioning 72 yards or not. But James Vaughters, Devin Adams, Mike Rose, Desmond Evans look very, very solid as a front 4. You factor in Caleb Saunders, who's starting to get in more and more reps as he gets healthier and healthier. And then you've got Ali Saad. So the defensive line, I think, is coming together. I do think it's going to take some time to build chemistry, though, with that group. Just, again, diverse backgrounds. Vaughters, Adams were in Winnipeg. Mike Rose has been here now for 2 years. Desmond Evans is a rookie out of North Carolina. As far as the linebacking core goes, Josh Woods, I talked to Josh today, said he's feeling great, and he looks like he is full of you-know-what and vinegar. Just the way that he's been flying around and looks very, very comfortable. He talked to us and told us how excited he is to play with Jameer Thurman. So he's been doing that, and the two of them look like, again, they've been playing together for years. And then Antoine Brooks Jr., again, didn't get as many opportunities on the field as he would like last year, but every time he was on, he made a play, and he just keeps doing that here in camp.
Yeah, that's a guy that I'm curious, right? Because there's that pressure, and it's small sample size from what he did last year, but what he did last year was great. So for me, one guy that I'm curious on the defensive side for sure.
Well, yeah, I told him I didn't like the change to the number 5, but he's all about it. He says it's the best thing going, so to each his own.
All right. And I think yesterday or the day before you mentioned that in the game, Sam Emilus, are we expecting bigger things possibly this year from him?
I had a good conversation with Sam today at camp and just kind of talked about how nobody's really talking about him. I mentioned it yesterday. I'm like, I should be talking about this guy more because he's so darn good. Why haven't I been? And so it's just he goes out there, he's methodical, he gets his reps in, and then he just makes the play, right? And talked to him a little bit about it. He's done more and more, or even more work this offseason with Trevor Harris and making sure the two of them are on the same page. And even at one point, how do you explain Trevor Harris? Well, he's one of one. He is just that good and that unique, a unicorn, if you will, in football in the way that he gets things done. So Samuel Emlis, again, he earned himself a big contract in the offseason, and he's looking to perform up to and beyond that this year.
I wonder if a guy like that, I was thinking about this last night when I was watching another program, and they were talking about Kenny Lawler and that money. And I was like, I wonder what Sam Emlis is thinking right now. Some of these other top receivers, the young top receivers in the league, are they looking at it and going, well, in a few years, I like where that bar's going up there. They would have to be, you would think. It's good for everybody in the profession.
Absolutely. It means the business is doing well, right? As a team, if you can afford that contract, you're not going to do it if you can't. So that's a good thing for the business side of things. It's a good thing for the league, I would suggest, as Kenny Lawler is one of the best that's doing it right now as far as receiving goes. So why wouldn't you reward him? And then, like you say, you inspire others. Hey, you know what? We just had a guy sign $1 million contract up here. Maybe that helps with the recruiting process.
That's exactly one of the points I was thinking of. And then I was watching said program yesterday, and they're showing Kenny Lawler clips from last year, and a lot of them were on defensive backs for the Toronto Argonauts. And I'm like, is that guy wearing shoes? Like, he keeps slipping. That guy just gets roasted. Is he even on the team? But yeah, he kept abusing the Toronto Argonauts. Okay, we started this by talking about special teams and Kent Majuri. This is our only time to talk today, Dave, but I'm going to let you throw to your one-on-one with Coach Majuri today.
Well, like I said, I've been watching him from afar, and he is such a good teacher. I think that's one of the things that, again, goes for many on the coaching staff. But he can elaborate, but he's also intense. When this team needs a kick in the pants to get going during a kickoff drill, for example, like they did yesterday, he's available and ready to vocalize that. And so today I just wanted to catch up with him and talk to who I call the busiest coach in training camp.
Coach, you're the busiest guy in camp these days, not only having to teach new players the new Canadian rules, but you've got to evaluate a long snapper, a punter, and a kicker. How have you handled it all?
It's been a challenge for sure. Like we were saying, it's the football god saying, all three at once. It's, I don't know. It's been a challenge. Just showing them where the weight room is and the building and all that stuff, let alone, we chart every snap, every kick, every punt. So it's been a challenge, but fortunately for us, they're all really, really good players. They care, so they have pride in their performance, and they're elite guys, so it makes it fun for us.
I may be a bit modest, but I commonly tell my wife you can't improve on perfection. When it comes to Jorgen Hughes, how do you improve on perfection?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Like he set the high standard, and to snap for 10 years or whatever it is, and no bad snaps, and he's just elite. So it's been a high bar. It's not really attainable right now, but we're going to chase it every day.
So how many intricate details come in the evaluation process of a long snapper? What should we be watching for?
Oh, it's huge. So for field goals, we talk about placement is key, right? So it's location, but also velocity and laces. These guys are so good now where the holders, they just have to catch it in the same spot and hopefully have laces. If it's a quarter turn off or a 16th off, we tell them, hey, it's a quarter. These guys adjust their snap, how they grip the ball, how they're throwing it back, their follow through. If it's raining or if it's cold, we've been fortunate to play in snow. They adjust their grip, and so it is an art. Like back in the day when we were, in high school, just snap me the ball, I'm gonna get it down and go. But it is truly an art for them.
There's a definite pattern in your punters. They've got legs. They can boom the ball as far as you want, but it's more than that at that position. What else are you looking for?
So for those guys, you have to have good feel. To me, it's a guy who can sense, is it rush? Is it hold up, by the punt return team? How we play the wind? What kind of drop do I have to have because of the wind? Do I got to hold it longer? And then location, hang, the types of punts we want when we're backed up or when it's open field or going in punts. Like, got to have multiple shots in the bag, which these guys do. And it's been fun. It's been really fun working with them.
Your kickers, without approach, have been able to plant foot and then drive it through the end zone from 50-some yards out. Speaks to their strength of leg. What else does it speak to?
Those guys, right now they're just learning this. So it's way different than being up in Saskatoon, the wind patterns, as you could tell today. So these guys are just trying to find, all right, it's left to right today. What am I looking at? What am I aiming at? What distance do I have to adjust that? When I'm into it, what's my depth? Line of scrimmage maybe 30 going that way and maybe 50 going this way because it was ripping today. So all those things, they're just trying to learn kind of the stadium and the wind patterns and stuff like that. So
how do you coach wind?
Reps. Yeah, reps. There are certain times where you may want to drive it so it doesn't move on you. Because if you get great height and lift, it may move once it hits that spot there. Whereas here, you can hit your best ball and let it take it, let the wind help you a little bit. So it's challenging, but it's different types of kicks. Maybe it's a different lean for the holders too.
It's an evaluation for today, but is it also an evaluation for tomorrow? Because tomorrow in 2027, those goalposts move to the back of the end zone, which may change the kicking dynamic entirely. Is that in your mind at all?
No, I live in half days. That's it. I'll worry about 2027 next off season. But I mean, to me, a 45-yarder is a 45-yarder. The thing it changes for us is kind of like the most exciting play for us is the missed field goal return. We'll still have to teach a cover unit, but that's really from 60 if you got a leg, or 50 if you don't. You know what I mean? So you still want to make them. You want to be 90%, on 40, under 40 or so, under 50. And then, it may or may not make the risk worth it. Just depends on where the ball's coming out. You know what I mean, for next year. Those are all things that we're thinking about and studying for next year.
Welcome back to SportsCage. Check out our podcast powered by Freeze Tolman. Available anytime, anywhere at 620ckrm.com and sportscage.com.
Yeah, listen to the podcast. Like Tony Fiacco. See him at the gym. He says he listens to the podcast all the time. He works early in the morning. Thanks, Tony. 936-6262. Let's get that Prairie Land Rentals text line buzzing. If you're out there seeding, let us know how it's looking, how it's going. I know that guy in the North Regina that dropped seed, he's pretty much done. All seeds in the ground there. That's kind of where I drive by every day. That's how I judge how things are going in seeding. I know it's a lot different around the province from besides the guy beside the Capital Auto Mall. Memorial Cup tonight, there is a game. If you want to watch a game that means something and you're maybe not into the Habs and Hurricanes, in Kelowna, it's the Everett Silvertips taking on the host Rockets. Now, the Silvertips, I'm reading this word for word from John Keene's Twitter account, guest of the show, friend of the show. Silvertips can eliminate Kelowna with a win, but even a Silvertips 1-goal loss gets them to the semis and forces a tiebreaker between Kelowna and Chicoutimi. Very interesting one tonight. So Silvertips 1-goal loss, and we got a tiebreaker between Kelowna and Chicoutimi. Isn't Chicoutimi one of the funnest towns to say the name? Chicoutimi. You don't think so, Curtis? Not a big Chicoutimi guy? Trois-Rivières. Chicoutimi. Speaking of Memorial Cup, it was in 2017, and I think some of you out there listening might have been there. It was fantastic. Pat's Seattle Thunderbirds WHL Championship Series. The Brandt Center was rocking. Pails in the bathrooms, leaking roof. It was jammed every night. People standing, congregating, and the hockey was so fast. It was so good. Seattle came in, and there was this kid from Yorkton, Saskatchewan, Turner Ottenbreit, captain of Seattle. He took out Adam Brooks in game 1 with a thunderous hit. We all remember that, and he was public enemy number 1. We had a chance to interview Turner on the Monday Nooner podcast. This is just a few snippets from it. If you want to go listen to the full thing, go to wherever you listen to podcasts, the Monday Nooner podcast, and he goes through his career, where he's at. A hilarious story about Russia and playing in Russia. But anyway, we talk about the Memorial Cup. And the few segments I got here, it's first off my co-host Brandon. He's talking about the 2017 Memorial Cup run for Seattle.
Tougher goal for you guys. Did it just catch up to you, maybe all the injuries and stuff, or what's it like? Because the WHL hasn't had a ton of success, getting over the hump at the Memorial Cup. Is there any reasoning for that, or?
I mean, to be truthful with you guys, I think the Memorial Cup's the dumbest tournament ever. There's no point for it. Yeah, that could be biased because the Dub hasn't had much success at it, but the grind we go through is nothing like what those guys in Ontario and Quebec do, right? We played Regina. We're going back and forth across the country. It's not even remotely close to each other, right? It's a different country. Then Kelowna, you're busing 8 hours to there, back, right? And you play throughout the season, right? You're going on Saskatchewan road trips, you're missing school, the young guys and stuff like that. It's not like in those other leagues where you're all within 4 or 5 hours, right? It's pro hockey, right? WHL is the closest you get to pro without playing pro at a junior level.
And then so when you guys go to the Mem Cup, obviously you want to put on a good face and you want to game plan. But like Brandon said, was it just you ran out of gas, or was there maybe a couple bounces didn't go your way? When you go back to that tournament, what do you think?
Honestly, I think we just ran out of gas, to be truthful with you. In the West Final, we play Kelowna, and it's a grind. They have a really good team as well. Kelowna's always good. Those are tough trips, too. You're going up to Kelowna, back to Seattle, and then as soon as that's done, you're jumping on a flight. You're going to Regina, back to Regina, and then we go back to Seattle for a day, pack up. And then you fly to Windsor, Ontario, and it's the time you get there, it's we've played 10 exhibition games already and 72 regular season games, and then you're at 100 games already, as well as the year before we made it when I was 18 years old. The year before we lost in the final to Brandon, and it's the same thing. You have a grind that year, lose, short summer, grind all this year as 19-year-olds now, and then I think you eventually just run out of gas. And even though you're a young teenager, your body still can't take that many games in a season.
What do you remember about I remember going to the series against Regina in the 2017 finals, Western Hockey League. Great series. I think if I recall, you laid out, was it Brooks or somebody, a huge hit?
Right. Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that for sure. Yeah, Regina was good. They honestly were a really good team. They had a lot of firepower, a lot of scoring, stuff like that. And we were kind of more of a tougher, kind of work hard team, right? So it was kind of a clash of two different teams, I'd say almost. Obviously we had our top line with Barzell and stuff like that, Kolsar, Bear, Drop. We had some good firepower too, don't get me wrong, but we were really physical, worked hard, kind of more of a deep team, I feel like. So, it was a great series. Obviously won 6 games and stuff like that. So it was awesome.
Kayla, if you can go back there and remember, because what I remember about that series was that Toth, the goalie, was from Saskatoon, and then he gets hurt, I don't know, in the playoffs, and then all of a sudden you guys got this Carl, whatever his name was. And I remember warm-ups that first game, and you got in the Brent Center, and I go, that's their goalie? He looks like a call-up from Pee-wee. That must have been wild for you guys as a team to lose your all-star goalie and then have to go with this guy. How did that all? Do you remember going back to that?
Yeah, to be honest with you, as you know, you only get 3 20-year-olds in the Dub, right? So Rylan, he was one of our 20-year-olds, and when you have a 20-year-old goalie, he's your guy, right? You ride or die with him, right? Our last game of the year, regular season game, was in Portland, a throwaway game. No one was even caring about it. And he tore his groin, really, really bad, in warm-ups. So it was kind of everyone's kind of looking at each other what's going on? So whatever, I don't even know what happened that game. You get through the game, we get ready for round 1, and he's obviously not playing. And then we have this Carl Stankowski, he's 16 at the time. He played, I honestly think he played 5 games for us all year, right? And you're just kind of we have him, we have another guy too, and we're kind of looking at our goalie coach what are we gonna do here, right? No one knows, right? And so we put this kid in, and he just stood on his head. It was unbelievable to watch, to be honest. He played so good for us.
It was because like you guys won the first game in overtime, and then they won the second game in overtime, and then here I think I had it up here, and then it goes back. So then it goes back to Seattle for and then they won. Then you won. You came back. But what game was that you hit Brooks? Was that game 1?
Yeah, it was first game in Regina.
And I remember everyone was like, oh, he's from Yorkton and his dad, like his family's here and all that. But you guys were like public enemy, like number 1.
Yeah, it was terrible. I mean, like, yeah, like some family friends like got kicked out of the rink and stuff. Like it was bad to the point where like my uncle was getting into it and he was like a politician at the time. And like, yeah, it was a mess. And it's actually a funny story. Like my wife now, her dad at the time was like Pats season ticket holders and stuff and like a big Pats fan. So like, yeah, it's kind of like a laughing point nowadays, but yeah, it's ironic.
It's time for the Sports Ticker, brought to you by Reliance Heath Water Heater Rentals. Rent a water heater and water softener starting at about $1.20 a day and get $400 when you switch to Reliance Heath.
All right, Hab fans, tonight, Game 4 at the Bell Center. Carolina holding a 2-1 lead. Puck drops 6 p.m. If you missed it earlier, we looked up actually tickets if you can get there. You're looking at about $461 Canadian in the aftermarket to get into that one tonight. What a tilt that'll be. Memorial Cup, we got Everett and Kelowna, like we just talked about. Major League Baseball this afternoon. Oh, and I had the score up. Let me just find it. The Toronto Blue Jays were back playing in Miami against the Marlins. How hot would that have been, although it's domed? 2-1, Blue Jays win. Final celebration. The boys are rolling. SportsCage.com poll today. How will the Toronto Blue Jays season end? Vote at SportsCage.com. Sports Ticker is for Reliance Heath. Rent a water heater and softener together starting at only $1.20 a day. You get $400 cash back too when you switch. Some conditions apply. Visit Reliance Heath. All right, hour 2 of the program is coming up. Joining us from Las Vegas, our NHL insider, Eric Francis. We're also going to have our training camp report with Luc Mullinder, clutch performer, sprinkle of the day. Stay tuned. It's the Sports Cage. We're back after the news. Welcome back on this Wednesday. Curtis is with me. We're on the Sports Cage, welcoming your comments. 936-6262. Prairieland Rentals text line. Deal with the owner. 600 Albert Street. Prairieland Rentals. All of our guests, of course, on the Western Pizza guest hotline during the news. Maybe I might have snuck down and maybe had myself a dry rib since we ordered way too much Western Pizza, and there's a bunch back there. Curtis, FYI. Pack yourself a doggy bag. Do they still call it doggy bags? Do you know what a doggy bag is? You ever heard? You must know what a doggy bag is.
I've heard the term.
Yeah, you've never gone out for supper or anything, maybe with your lady friend, and been like, give me a doggy bag?
No, I can't say that I've gone out of my way to specifically request a doggy bag.
Yeah, I guess we'd probably go with containers.
That's back in the day kind of things.
And it's offensive to dogs. So we have to be worried about that now as well.
It's like basically a dog whistle. You're like screaming when you say doggy bag. Fetch me a doggy bag.
Barney's on suspension because he called them doggy bags. RMP is who brings you the show on Wednesdays. Visit RMP today for a no-charge brake inspection and save up to $120 off GM genuine parts, brake pads, and rotors. Offer ends May 31st, so just a few days away, only at RMP. We are going to get to training camp report with Luc Mullinder in a bit, but tonight, the Montreal Canadiens and Carolina Hurricanes. What's everyone?
Now for Inside the NHL with Eric Francis on the Sports Cage. Inside the NHL is brought to you by Sports Select. Getting in on more of the sports action you want is as easy as playing at sportselect.com. Simply make your picks online, generate your QR code, and lock in your bet at your local Lotto Spot retailer.
Inside the NHL, Eric Francis. Look where he's in front of a slot machine, the Las Vegas airport. Let's go here first, Eric. It's brought to you by Sports Select, by the way. Speaking of gambling, are you Excited to be going home early, or did you pack for a few more days, maybe going back to Denver?
I was packed and ready for anything, but I'm excited to go home for a couple of days, and then you're kind of on call though. I'm off to I'm assuming Raleigh, but I don't know whether I should assume anything over the next little while. But yeah, go home for a couple of days, play a ton of golf, and then head back on the road to cover the most accessible team in the NHL, the Vegas Golden Knights. Actually, they've been really good. Even though Torts didn't let us in the room earlier in the year, he's good now.
Oh, yeah. What was it like last night being around all that after they won?
It was cool. You know what's funny? I was expecting to go in the locker room. Part of me was like, well, I'll go in the Avs room first. I'm hoping Makar will talk about his injury or McKinnon. And it's interesting. Makar is all class. He's like, I said, can you talk about what you were going through? And he goes, no, I'm not that guy. I was 100%. And, I tried my best. And like, we're going to find out sooner or later. There are some talk that he's going to need shoulder surgery and might miss some of next year. But either way, he put on a brave face. McKinnon, on the other hand, did not make himself available, which you can read into that what you want. But he says he was getting treatment. And then went into the Vegas room, and I kind of thought there'd be champagne and goggles and all that. No, it was pretty low key. It was quiet. Had a nice sit down with Brad Desser. I was worried about getting my suit all wet, like I was like, I don't know if I should go in there. I don't want to get champagne all over my suit. And then there was nothing.
Basically, they act like they've been there before. And I wouldn't expect the former Robert Tiger, Kelly McCrimmon, to give them goggles as well. No, boys, crack a couple of cold ones and go with that. You know what I saw after the game, and you might have been going down from the media gondola down. I thought it was really classy. Carter Hart went up, and after all the handshakes, he went and shook each official's hands, just like minor hockey. I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh, that is cool. We insisted on that with my son from day one, and he just carried it on. And I mean, a lot of kids do, don't get me wrong, but that's very important to me that kids do that. And so good for him, setting an example for everybody else.
There was times in that game yesterday. Let's talk about yesterday's game. There's time, and I don't know if I texted you, but I was like, this bet is so good. Like, they look like the Globetrotters at parts, the Vegas Golden Knights, and strong. And then Colorado looked like the Vancouver Canucks.
Yeah. Last night was a different game than the other three games. The other three games, I'd honestly argue Colorado was the slightly better team. Now, they would go on a spurt in each game and blow it, self-implode or whatever you want to call it, and never seem to have an answer. But on this night, on Game 4, Vegas was the better team, and they outplayed them in every way. I think I looked it up after the game. 22-9 were the high danger chances for Vegas, and that's a team that was scored early, and then you kind of thought we're going into a defensive shell, which they're really good at, but they still managed to outchance them, 2.5-1. So utter dominance last night.
Injuries aside, let's say when Makar was out, and then McKinnon was dealing with some things. Like, who did you expect to step up more for Colorado? Was it the Kadris, Brocknell? I don't know. Who did you expect more from?
All the above. Brock Nelson, Kadri. Nelson was atrocious in this series. I think he had one shot on net in games 2. He had very, very few shots on net. He had a crossbar once, but he was largely ineffective. Kadri kind of looked like he'd slowed down a little bit. Nichushkin was hurt, so you don't know. Lehkonen was clearly hurt, and he was completely ineffective. And we're giving McKinnon a bit of a pass because of the knee injury late in Game 3, but Games 1 and 2 and Game 3 up until he got hurt, the guy had done nothing. Not for lack of effort, but he's the leading goal scorer in the National Hockey League all season long, and in the series when you need him most, he doesn't get a single goal. In fact, I think he had 1 assist in the whole series, so not good enough. It was a collective the story all along for me was the Avalanche blowing this in certain ways or not coming through based on expectations. But now that we look at the series on the whole after 4 games, you got to look at it and say, you know what? Vegas took this, and they dominated when they needed to dominate and shut it down when they needed to shut it down.
Remember before the series started, I went through the lineups like minor hockey, and I said, okay, yes, McKinnon, yeah, Makar. And then after that, I'm like, that guy can outplay that guy in the playoffs. That guy can outplay that guy in the playoffs. That guy. And it was Vegas. Like it was heavy Vegas. Do you think former Saskatoon Blade Sasky boy Jared Bednar is back in Colorado next year?
I think so, but I've heard the rumors, and I also get it if they decide to make a change. I mean, he's been there, 9 years, 10 years? They've won a cup. They've been one of the most successful teams over that span with him. But if there's a belief that the window is short and they need to, maybe a new voice, or they've tuned him out or whatever, I would get it. I mean, the way that they fell flat in this last series, it's cause for pausing on that and taking a look at everything. There's talk that the GM, Chris McFarland, will go to Nashville and run that organization. So a lot of decisions to be made in Colorado. The one decision I don't think that needs to be made is the core of the group. I think most of that team is back next year, and I wouldn't mess with a damn thing. Yeah, for 4 games they didn't come through, but every other game this year they were the most dominant team in hockey. So I think it's tough to kind of throw everybody under the bus because of it.
Are we putting too much into? Or is everybody putting too much into John Tortorella and getting these guys there, or is it just the collective group because they're so veteran savvy? And you look down that roster, it's like, well, maybe you could have put Gene Hackman from Hoosiers in there, and he would have taken them.
Yeah, I struggle with that one. I mean, at the end of the day, since he took over, their record is 19-4-1.
Yeah.
And you can't argue with that, and whatever it was that he did, or the aura he brought, or the way he approached things, look, it has nothing to do with X's and O's. They didn't change a damn thing, okay? The style of play, but that's the role of the coach, to just be a motivator, and for whatever reason, he was able to tap into them either being more relaxed, because all year long, what did we say about Vegas? God, they should be better. And then he was the one who got the best out of them, and he's not done yet. However you slice it and dice it, you got to give him credit for being a good coach. And look, some of these stats, if he wins the cup, he'll be the 4th guy ever to win a cup in 2 different cities. That's pretty amazing. Last guy was Scotty Bowman. He was pretty good, I heard. And then the other thing is, the last time a President's Trophy team got swept in 4 games was Columbus sweeping the Tampa Bay Lightning in 2019. Tortorella was the coach of that Columbus team as well. So kind of interesting, and there's too many dots to connect to say, oh, it's just a fluke.
You and I, you had about 4 or 5 cookies. I had a bag of popcorn. We sat there at the Golden Knights game. We watched it with our eyeballs. I said, Carter Hart's not good enough. Was I wrong?
Well, he's turned it on. I mean, that's the biggest difference from their whole season. And as they say, a good coach, show me a good coach, I'll show you a good goalie. When Tortorella came here, I do believe that might be his biggest triumph. And the connection he has with Hart, he just went straight to Hart. I guarantee it. I would love to have video of that meeting and just said, hey, man, I don't know anything about what's going on here, but you're my boy. Like, seriously, I remember I told you I was in Calgary or I was in Vegas when Tortorella was hired. Like, Tortorella asked me if I knew where the press conference room was. Like, the guy didn't know a thing about. He's never spoken to Kelly McCrimmon before. Like, there's a lot of things about this that are fascinating, but the one connection he had was Carter Hart, and he empowered him somehow to be the difference in this series. And so yeah, that part's really cool. By the way, I thought of you last night. I sent you that video of the water bottle shaking with the music, but I just found out, I've been going to Vegas for 9 years, okay? I just found out that the place that I have the pregame meal every game, and the place I sent you to go down and get that delicious little bowl that they made for us, that's the staff dining room. That's not the media room. I've been eating there for free for 9 years. I just assumed it was like, I don't know what and nobody's ever said anything to me. So I ate there the last game, and I saw the big sign, staff dining room, and they still serve me and everything. I saw the sign after they served me, and I'm like, oh my God, I owe them a bit of money. Yeah, hey, I might still go back. I might still go back in the final.
No, you just say, hey, no, like you blame it on me. You know that dark Ukrainian fellow that was in here? He told me to keep coming in here. Just say. Okay, here's the video you sent me. I think Curtis has it. This is the base in warm-ups. If people are watching the stream, and Eric's talked about this before, no word of a lie, the water is vibrating in his water bottle from the base in that arena. It's just electric. I can't imagine what it's going to be like for the Stanley Cup final. Okay, maybe last question for you, or second last one, Eric. Conn Smythe, Hart or Marner has the front runner right now?
Marner. I wrote a column about this the other day. If they had to engrave it right now, it's Mitch Marner on there. You don't have to worry about the spelling. It's him. The guy has been, look, and Hart would probably be second. But Mitch Marner, the way he's played offensively, defensively, he's played center at a time when Carlson was hurt. Then he moved to the wing. He's leading all scorers in the playoffs. He's leading everyone in plus minus. I know it's a dumb stat, but he's like double the next guy. He's just done it all. And even on the power play, he runs it from the top like a defenseman on half the power plays. There's nothing he hasn't done. And boy, what a story. If I'd have told a Leaf fan a year ago that Mitch Marner was going to win the Conn Smythe Trophy and hoist the Stanley Cup, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but if that's what happens, like this guy's flipped the narrative on the narrative on him his whole life? He can't play when it matters most. Yeah. Well, look what he did in the Four Nations. Look what he did in the Olympics. Look what he's doing now.
And I love his passive-aggressive comments in the post game. They were great. Okay, that thing behind you says 381,000 is the jackpot. Before you get on that flight back to Vegas, and we're wearing matching T-shirts, that must be good luck. You should put some money in that just in case. And so you're covering the final?
Yeah. Well. Yeah, I'm covering the final. If it's Raleigh, if it's Carolina, I'm covering the final. If it's Montreal, I'm not. So okay. I'm not really sure what to cheer for at this point in time. Oh, wow. I know my wife. She was born in Montreal. She's cheering for Montreal, and she wants her husband home, or so she says. And so I don't know. I don't know what to hope for. Several of the other writers will tell you, no matter what it is, whatever you hope for, it's not going to happen. So don't hope for anything. Just let it happen.
Did you pour one out the other night for Rob Bass? We lost Rob Bass.
Damn straight I did. That is maybe my favorite song. I've told you before, my favorite song of all time is either It Takes Two by Rob Bass, DJ Easy Rock, or Let Your Backbone Slide by a Canadian maestro, Fresh West. I know a lot of people listening are going, you are garbage if those are your two favorite songs of all time, but I'm dance on speaker guy in my day. I love that stuff, man, and nothing gets the crowd going like those two songs.
And I looked up every possible flight pattern for the Roxette tour last night with my wife and what works in our schedule. So we're just trying to figure that out. Okay, you'll be home on Friday. We can do this. Go play lots of golf, and we'll catch up on Friday.
Tea times are booked. Thanks, buddy.
See you, bud. There he is, our NHL insider, Eric Francis, brought to you by Sports Select. Every bet is legal. You can make your picks with QR code and scan now, or do it old school. Must be 18 plus to play. Play responsibly. SportsSelect.com. It's a Sports Cage. We're streaming. If you were watching on our YouTube channel, you saw Eric Francis there at the Las Vegas airport. We're streaming through our YouTube channel at SportsCage.com.
The Sports Cage Clutch Performer for Keln Solar. Thinking about saving money by using solar power? Keln Solar is a local family company that can put solar panels on your home, business, or farm. KelnSolar.com.
All right, for Keln Solar, like he says, I could go Carter Hart. The Vegas Golden Knights kicked again last night. Actually played really good. I thought. I'm like, man, this guy's actually playing really good. But I'm going to give it to Mitch Marner. 9 years in Toronto. We all know that things didn't go great there. He left. See you later. Smell ya. Keep the change. He's in Vegas. I love the post-game interview he gave, where I think it's passive-aggressive. I'm going to go 8.5 out of 10. Yeah.
some emotion on the ice. Just what was that like?
Yeah, it was a special moment. Like I was saying to Sean, I mean, there's been some dark times in hockey for myself, honestly. Thankful for my family, my brother, my mom and dad, my wife, all my friends around me. So, yeah, that was a moment just to express, some joy and some, some fun there. And I'll enjoy it for tonight and then, be ready to go to work.
How do you sum up the last 2?
Yeah. If you're watching the stream, I think that guy behind in the chapeau and jacket, I think his phone was on. He was just around for that free buffet.
Dark times, aka Toronto.
Well, yeah, you can really stick it to him. Did I talk about that on the show yesterday, or was I just talking to somebody that I'm running into more Leaf fans that are friends, and they are like, yeah, hope he wins, and just sticks it to us. Oh, yeah, Arash. That's who I talked to, Arash and I. So Mitch Marner is my clutch performer for Kelton. So do you have one?
You know what? Why not? I'll say Jonathan Kim for showing out at training camp today and hitting a 72-yarder. Allegedly. I didn't see it. Dave Thomas saw it. So, but I'll say, yeah, it's pretty clutch.
Jonathan Kim's got a leg. That's the nickname we're going to have to go next after Tommy Stevens.
The leg. Perfect.
Yeah, we can think about that. Well, if they don't let him steal that on Monday, we got to keep that one for us. We'll go.
Kicking Kim.
If you're thinking solar, maybe putting up some panels on your house, your cabin, farmyard, or whatever, if you got a livestock operation too, Kelton Solar, they ship all over Saskatchewan. They can help you out. Locally owned in Lumsden, Saskatchewan. Can we go to Sprinkle of the Day quickly? Curtis for Sports Select, sportselect.com. Let's obviously go with the Carolina Hurricanes at Montreal Canadiens. All right. Montreal's 260 on the pro line this evening. 260. I smell overtime in this one. This series has been tight score-wise. 350 to go to overtime is what it shows at Sports Select. 5.5 is the over-under. So you can go on to sportselect.com and find out more. I wonder if you can go... I'm just going to refresh us on mine. If we go show props, if it has any props for tonight's contest. There you go. Yeah, what do you got? Go down there. Points. Jarvis or against Lane Hudson, 260. Assists, Svechnikov, Caulfield, maybe a breakout night for Caulfield. Shots, Stankoven versus Caulfield. You play a lot of different things at sportselect.com. It's beautiful. If you want, play responsibly. Every bet is 100% legal. Chance of winning cash in hand when you're ready to play. Bet on the original Sports Select. So that was Sprinkle of the Day. We'll go to break. And then we are going to be getting close to our training camp report for the Red Zone Sports Bar in Saskatoon, where Luc Mullinder will join us today. It's the Sports Cage on the home of sports in Saskatchewan, turning 100 years old this year. 620 CKRM. You had me thinking there. That's why. Curtis is with me. It's for Regina Motor Products on this Wednesday. We were just chatting about something else. I think that we should start a segment, because I texted you yesterday and I said, all I said in the text was shopping carts. And you were like, what?
Yeah, you just sent me a message. You're like, ask me about shopping carts on the show. And I was like,
so then,
okay.
I think we should call it Curtis, since Colson's off for a bit on paternity leave. Curtis learns about the olden days.
Do you want to call it Curious Curtis?
No.
I'm so curious about the olden days.
So here's the olden days. I saw a shopping cart the other day in my area, and it was just basically someone just put it into a shrub, and it was just sitting there.
As you do.
And when I grew up, And I guess where I grew, I saw a lot of shopping carts. Shopping carts were used a lot to move things from place to place, like they are now. You see people using them. Those aren't their shopping carts, obviously. They belong to a store. But in the olden days, Curtis, what used to happen was, and this, somebody text in 936-6262 if this still happens, there was somebody hired, and I don't know if they were hired, they would take them back to the grocery stores and then sell them back to them. But there was a truck that used to go around, because I used to see it in my area in Saskatoon, and they would just pick up all the random shopping carts and take them back to wherever.
Well, as someone that's like worked at a grocery store, they are actually surprisingly expensive. And that kind of sounds like the modern day version of that would probably be those people that go around picking up the e-scooters to go charge them and bring them back to the different e-scooter spots.
Yes. Yeah. So olden days has come back in a roundabout way, but there's got to be, like, how do these shopping carts? Vinyl. How do these shopping carts in this day and age, like that one? It was a good 4 or 5 blocks from the, I guess it'd be Superstore would be the closest place that had a shopping cart in my neck of the woods. I'm like, how does that get back there? Like, is that just a good Samaritan now that is out for a walk and then say, I'm gonna walk this thing back to where it belongs? Or is there still the pickup guy?
Yeah, I don't know.
Rest in peace, Joe Diffie.
The particular store that I worked at definitely wouldn't have paid for people to go and retrieve them, to my knowledge. I wasn't exactly management by any means, but I would say if they have left the premise, it's one of those things.
We're waiting for Luc Mullinder to join us here for Training Camp Report. We're talking shopping carts, olden day shopping carts here. So when you worked at, was it a grocery store you said?
Yeah.
And did you have to go get carts? Did they say, hey, we need you to go get carts in the parking lot?
I did. I did grab the carts a lot.
I did that at Walmart. And when you're young, it's a job. It was awesome. It was fun. It was like, but you quickly realized how that was kind of one of the crap jobs. And it was like, hey, we need you to go out and get carts. And it was busy. And then you have to string. It's a skill. Stringing them in that long line and pushing them all together. Nowadays, they got some fancy robot machine that they all hook in. And I see the guys doing it. And I'm like, you have no idea what it used to be like driving stick. Like driving rear-wheel drive in the winter. No idea. You got some fancy machine to get the carts back into the cart barn or whatever they call it. We pushed it. It's what we did.
I wonder if Luc Mullinder pushed carts back in the day.
Lots of people are texting in all of a sudden about Bubbles. Bubbles gave people too many ideas. No need for the pickups anymore. I haven't watched enough Trailer Park Boys to know. Is he there? Training Camp Report brought to you by the Red Zone Sports Bar behind the Saskatoon Travel Lodge, where I'm sure at some time you will find a shopping cart there as well. Come watch with friends. Daily specials, most screens in Saskatoon. A great play. Do you know what I'm talking about, Luke? Do you remember back in the day as a kid, you'd see shopping carts everywhere, then someone would pick them up. What happens nowadays? Is it just us? Is it the Good Samaritan that's supposed to take that back to the store?
Well, I think that if the grocery store is large enough, they actually put trackers on their carts these days. I've seen those. Yeah. But I would assume that legally, the employees of any grocery store are probably only allowed to search for the carts on their premises. I doubt they're going down to, let's just say, throw it out there, Dudney, to figure out where the Safeway carts are, right? So, yeah, I think that there's a proximity in which we're allowed to find the shopping carts. I think that once they're gone, though, man, those things are gone. But, I mean, dude, you're right. Like, shopping carts were just sort of the thing that we used to transport. I mean, there wasn't a lot of people who owned cars in our neighborhood, and it was quite normal to see people pushing their cart home, right? Because they had no way, and until like the kids from the neighborhood went to help, and and then the cart was left there. But I mean, those cars also became like forts, race cars down a hill, right? Like those things were community-based entertainment back then.
Community cart. It was always nice to have a community cart. It's like, hey, where are we going to play today? Yeah, we got to transport everything. Where's the cart? Where's the shopping? And for me, you just hope that no one ghost rode it into the river, and it was still around.
Well, I was about to actually. It's funny that you mentioned that, because wherever you hung out at as a kid, there was always like a stream or a creek or some like body of water that had come to be just out of, right? And there was always like, you'd always see wheels upside down, and it'd be a shopping cart, right? And that I think that's like it's like the elephant graveyard, you know? Those creeks and rivers become a shopping cart graveyard.
You remember Karen Broderick that used to work, the great Karen who used to work here, lovely lady, now she's retired. We were in Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco on one of those Harvard client trips. We went to the Safeway. We loaded up 2 carts with Cindy as well. We loaded up these 2 carts. I remember my daughter had Roman in a baby holster, and we had a half a block, Luke, from the Safeway to the Sheraton, a half a block. So we were like, well, let's just roll these carts, and then I'll bring the carts back. Well, like you said, we at Fisherman's Wharf, we get out of that Safeway, all of a sudden they locked up. And we were like, what kind of technology? What planet are we on? So we had to take a cab a half a block. She was so devastated. I can't remember how much she tipped the guy, but it was a half a block to take a cab because of the technology.
Yeah, I think that, since then California's gone downhill, so it's probably not like that anymore. But yeah, I think that I just remember it's like college and bikes, right? Like, you steal one bike, you drive it to the dorm or wherever you're gonna, and then it gets stolen from you, right? Like they're just community vehicles at some point.
We're not condoning stealing of bikes. That was the olden days, Curtis.
No, but I mean in college, that's what you, right? Like how are you supposed to get to class if you're late? You grab one of the bikes that was already stolen and someone left there, and you take it and you go to college and you go to class, and it probably gets stolen from you while you're in class. Community vehicles.
Circle of bike life, for sure. What did you think of the game in Saskatoon in Hull? I wasn't there. Atmosphere looked good. You were calling it up in the booth. I know you wanted to go down. All in all, what did you give it out of 10?
10. I thought it was awesome. I thought so many people worked so hard to get that event off the ground. I thought it was amazing. I'm not sure how many people. I mean, I'm sure there was anywhere from 7,500 to 9,000 people there. But it was an unreal atmosphere, and I didn't know what to think prior to that game. I just saw how hard people were working, not just the station people either. Like, man, Mosh, you know how Mosh is, man. He was out there a couple days before setting things up, but so was everybody else, right? They had to ship that massive movie screen. Like, it was such an effort on so many people's behalfs, and to have it go off, it was a great day for football, and I think that both teams got some good evaluation out of it too.
Curtis, who was here, he was working hard up there. I was going to ask you both, over under 150 F-bombs dropped by Mosh, but that's another story for another time.
Dude, we went to 13 pies, and he went over that number within the first 10 minutes when we were eating. Yeah. But you know what, guy? If there's one guy that deserves to drop all those F-bombs, man, I can tell you, man, it's him, because he works incredibly hard.
Yeah, I love it. Every time he talks, I'm like, Mosh. Do you think it's going to be tough, though, to take camp back there, to have a game back there, if they don't conform field-wise, obviously, the way the CFL is going to go next year?
Well, I don't think they're going to be able to, anyways, just because of the time period in which camp's going to be next year, right? I mean, you're pushing it back 2 or 3 weeks. One of the actual things I didn't think about, and we were talking about the impact the early draft's going to have is a lot of the draftees are still going to be in school by the time camp opens up, right? So, and I know that the University of Saskatchewan, they're building a whole new clubhouse for the Huskies, anyways. So I don't think that they're going to be able to do it. And I'm going to be honest with you. based on how hard people work, there's probably a lot of people that are praying that it doesn't happen again, despite how good it was. But man, it was, I'm telling you, Barney, it was an effort, man. It was a lift, and it was great. Hope we can do it again, but I don't see it happening in U of S next year, just because of the way the draft's going to work. And I mean, they've got to figure out how to get their draftees out of exams.
Really good point. Kind of, I keep forgetting about things moving way back to definite earlier. Quarterback assessment from your eyes.
I think that when both quarterbacks settled down, they were great. I'm talking about Shager and Tommy and Jack Cohn. I think that Trevor Harris looked awesome, as everybody knew he would. Both quarterbacks, Caleros and Harris, came out, took advantage of their reps, and got on the sidelines to coach. But I think Shager played really well. It's a little bit weird. One of the things that I wish for both those quarterbacks is they could both have that first string offensive line, because in Shager's case, for instance, I mean, he spent a lot of the third quarter just running for his life, right? And that's not a bad thing for. I'm not saying his O-line sucked. What I'm saying is he was running for his life for a lot of the third quarter, right? I mean, he even took a big hit. So I think that once he did get a pocket, though, he made some great throws, and I think the same thing for Jack Cohn. I think that he took a minute to settle down, but when he did settle down, he was good. So it's going to be interesting to see how many quarterbacks they go with. I think that they probably go with 4. But I also wouldn't be surprised if one of the quarterbacks, right, if they ended up taking 3 and one of the 2 guys we were just talking about maybe gets cut. But again, that's camp life, and those guys, I thought those guys did really well with the thing, and just resilience, right, especially on Shager's part, right? I mean, he's in there, he's getting chased around, his old line starts playing a lot better, and he just starts slicing the opponent up. It was great to see.
I love how it ends, right? And that zip on the ball that he puts to Daniel Weeb and cutting across the middle like that slant here. If you're watching the stream, here it is right here. Like, this is right on the money, Steam, where you want it. Does Daniel Weeb do enough to make this team as a starter, Luke, do you think? Or do you think there's a spot for him?
I think there's a spot for him. I'm not sure if he's going to be a starter. I think that he's going to significantly contribute at some point in the year. But again, it all depends on just sort of where folks see his value. I've seen him in practice returning punts and kickoffs. I mean, that was a clutch play, right? And again, that just showed sort of Shager's gamer mentality as well, right? Make sure he's evading the blitz, lets his slot receiver run the other defensive back to the bag, right? So Weeb gets the one-on-one, and Weeb did exactly what he needed to do in that situation, and he caught the football. So I think that he's definitely got a massive shot to make the team. You know, right now, there's a lot of comparisons going around. I mean, potentially to be like a Rob Bag guy, right? Be on that wide side of the field. When Mitch Picton was getting his starts in Ryder Green, and when he was playing, he was at that wide field, wide receiver spot. So I think that there is, but again, I also think that right now, the Jeremy O'Day and Coach Mace and football ops, they've got a real sort of, I think that they're looking at not only the wide receiver depth, but also their ratio, right? You look at the ratio potentially changing without AJ Allen over there at will linebacker. It looks like it'll be an American guy at will, Josh Woods, right? So you've got a couple guys back there in the secondary that are Canadian. So does an American like, how does the ratio play out offensively based on the changes that they made defensively, right? So I think that. I think he's got a shot to start. I'm not sure, but you know what? It doesn't matter. He's such a young guy right now. Just give him an opportunity, right? Just wait for your opportunity. Work hard in practice. Listen to the guys like Sam Emelis, KSB. Listen to those guys. Just learn, invest your time, do the right thing, eat right, drink enough fluids. You know, get in the weight room, and when your opportunity comes up, you just do exactly what you did all camp, right? Take advantage of the opportunity. And I think that that's the deal that Weeb's got, right? Is he's got to just be ready, and when the window opens, however it opens, take advantage of it.
When I was listening to the game, and I was listening to you, it seemed they were slicker, the ins and outs, and guys being on the field and all that. But one thing, and I wrote it down, I had to ask Luke, defensive line and the pressure they were getting from the ends. To your liking, still some work to do there?
I think that they got better. You saw they clearly took the coaching, because some of the mistakes or some of the things that they could get better at from the Calgary game, I felt like they had improved on the Calgary game, and that's probably what the most important thing is to do, especially when you have such a young group. I mean, I talked about it with a couple of the guys from one of the podcasts in Saskatchewan, but the Riders are essentially looking to replace 3 defensive ends, right? You got the 2 that were starting, and then you got Habakkuk Baldonado, who did a fantastic job last year applying pressure. So, I mean, that's a wide open competition. So the one thing that you wanted to see, other than somebody making plays, is just every one of those guys getting better, right? Holding down their C gaps a little better, being stout at the run, and then applying some of that pressure in the way and the technique that Micah Johnson, their new D-line coach, wants them to create, right? But there were some good moments. I felt like we still needed to use some linebackers, and I think that Josh Bell, when it comes to the scheme in week 1 for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, I think that he'll have to mix it up initially while some of these young kids get their feet under them. So I would anticipate some linebackers being involved in the pass rush. I would anticipate just using your defensive backs, right, to pressure the passer. But again, it's got to come together. At some point, this team's going to have to win their one-on-ones, and at some point, they're going to have to prove that they can rush the passer with 4 defensive line, right? You can't always use linebackers, and I think that there's the balance, right? Josh Bell and Corey Mace just got to figure out what that balance is initially while these guys continue to get better.
Okay, last one for you here. About a minute and a half left, and I'm going to ask Schultz about this after 5 as well. But I love the comment this week from Malcolm Bell that he's going to take the time off here to learn another position. Just wants to play. I love hearing that, just as the casual fan. For you, a guy that's played, that's been there, does it bring back any memories of a guy that maybe he knew he wasn't going to play his position, but he had to go, I'm going to learn this position and put in the work here because I want to be here?
Man, when I first got into the league, I was told I needed to know every single position, right? And I think that in the Canadian Football League, the more you can do, the better. I think that we've seen plenty of guys now. The way they just sort of the way they get to their starting spot is by being a backup. Tavon Campbell wasn't a starter right away either. You know what I mean? In the Canadian Football League, I think that you've got to know, and more importantly, for Malcolm Bell, it's not just he should know a number of positions. He can play a number of positions because of his size. Like, he's a big defensive back. This isn't one of those small DBs that is just a little jitterbug out there. This is a lengthy defensive back that's a physical player and has a ton of experience. So I think he should be learning the field side half. I think he should be watching what the safeties are doing and learning how the safeties operate. I think he should be down there looking at how strong side linebackers fit into the equation and things like that, right? Like, he needs to know all of it, right? Because that's what initially he's probably going to be asked to do, is plug in and play somewhere.
True story. Today I was at a grocery store and a guy came up to me and said, "Man, I'd like to hear more about that bus driver number 2." And it took me a couple seconds and I was like, "Oh, yeah, the story's gaining, man. We might have to do a little mini feature on that."
On bus number 2? I'll tell you what, man. I'll tell you what. One thing's for sure and 2 things for certain. I'm never going to be on not bus 1 ever again. That's never going to happen from this point on. I learned my lesson. The media guys, we've always gone on bus 1. I don't know, I just wanted to throw in a little razzle-dazzle, right? And it didn't work out. It just didn't work out. The razzle-dazzle didn't have enough dazzle, Barney, and I'm going back to bus 1. I'm going to be with Coach and J.O. all the way in the back in seat 7 or 8, right where I belong, shutting up, right? Because the bus carrying the coach and the GM, that ain't never going to get lost, ever, right?
That's
so
right.
That I just need to, you know what? It was my fault. I take responsibility. I do not blame bus number 2 bus driver. I don't know where he is in the world today. He might be fired based on the story we told. However, I do not fault him. It's my fault for deviating from what has traditionally been bus 1 media guys, seats 7 and 8.
Would you recognize them in a police or in any kind of lineup? Would you recognize them?
You know what? Probably.
Yeah.
It's, because this guy down, Curtis. Because it's like, you've seen those movies and shows, right, where like there's a kid that witnesses a murder or witnesses something go wrong, and like he gets a glimpse, a flash, and then the whole series, like 8 episodes go by where they're trying to identify the killer, and then in the 9th episode, all of a sudden the kid has like this, something happens to trigger the kid's memories, and then all of a sudden it's like, what? I just watched this. The new Man on Fire series was like that, where the kid, this girl who had like her dad was blown up, her family's gone. She had to identify this dude she saw on a motorcycle in for a millisecond. And she did. So I'm gonna have that moment at some point, Barney, but it's not at this point. We're not ready for that.
If anybody out there knows or is a retired police sketch artist, we would love to be in contact with you, and then you'll just talk to Luke, and we'll get one of those grainy pictures, and we'll put it. I think that's what people who train guide dogs and people who are police sketch artists are right up there with astronauts for me, as far as tough jobs.
Yeah, well, of course. Like, yeah, hey, 2-year-old, I know that daddy was a bad man and hit mommy, though. Can you or this dude, like, yeah, like, how do they ask these 2-year-olds that have seen these crimes to, like, describe a person? I mean, this kid can barely tell us what color blue is, and next thing you know, we've got a 4D rendering of a suspect, I don't know how it works like that.
Unsolved Mysteries was great back. Okay, we're gonna get to the bottom of this. This is just the beginning.
Just didn't work out in O.J. Simpson's story, It's funny how that works, man.
The juice. All right, Luke. Always fun. Thanks, buddy.
We'll see you guys later.
Talk to you Friday.
All right, cool.
There he is, our football analyst on our Rider broadcast team, Luc Mullinder. Police sketch artists. There's got to be one kicking around we can get our hands on. Our training camp reports are brought to you by the Red Zone Sports Bar behind the Saskatoon Travelodge. We'll be back with more of those tomorrow. We do have Rider audio coming up a little bit later in hour 3 as well from camp today. It's a Sports Cage streaming through our YouTube channel at sportscage.com.
It's time for the Sports Ticker, brought to you by Extreme Hockey and Sport is the home of the price match guarantee. 1425 McIntyre Street, the Cooperator Center, Moose Jaw Temple Garden Center, and online at extremehockey.net.
Okay, 6 o'clock or in around there. Puck drop. Carolina leading the series 2-1. Montreal trying to even it up, going back to Carolina. Memorial Cup tonight. Big game for Kelowna. They need to win. Everett, Kelowna at the Memorial Cup. Major League Baseball, Blue Jays won today. 2-1 over the Marlins. It's for Extreme Hockey and Sport, where right now the Bauer Flylight Stick, the new ones in new colors. They are snazzy. Red, black, purple, blue, glacier. Built for players who thrive on speed and instinct. The new Bauer Flylights available at the McIntyre Street location, the Cooperator Center, and of course the new one in Moose Jaw Temple Garden Center. They're local. They support local. Extreme Hockey and Sport. It's time we go talk to Crofty from Croft Electric. Dan Croft, croftelectric.com. Windy out there, Dano. Give me an example of kind of what you guys are working on right now. What are people calling in for?
Well, currently I'm just out at a hopefully a future client's farm looking at a new upgrading their power for fall, for make sure they got enough power for grain drying and all that kind of stuff. So I just stepped into their shop to get out of that wind.
So a lot of people out there, the producers, the farmers, they're kind of expanding things, and they need to, for lack of a better term, put more juice on the grid.
Yeah, pretty much. Take more juice from the grid. But pretty much, yeah, let's hope that they have a good year and they get some rain and get the crops, get them in and get them off. But yeah, I had one farmer tell me one time that having a grain dryer on his farm, eliminates the need for one combine and one operator. So it kind of speeds up harvest for him. He can start a little earlier and run a little later and get that grain into the bin, or get a grain into the grain dryer and then dry it. So, Yeah, we're here to help out with that kind of thing and make sure that they're ready for fall.
Oh, I just learned something today. That's fascinating. Farm, industrial, residential, commercial. You guys do it all at Croft Electric, Crofty. You can go online to croftelectric.com, but they can also call.
Yeah, give us a call. Give Amy a call at 306-586-1333. She does have some openings next week. We always keep some openings open for our preferred customers and for loyal customers and our new customers so that we can service all of our customers.
That's right. All right, Crofty, have a good rest of your week, buddy. We'll maybe see you Friday.
Yep, we'll see you Friday.
CroftElectric.com. Find them on all the socials as well. Croft Electric. It is the Sports Cage. We're back, Hour 3 with Scott Schultz, and also talk to the general manager of the Waskesiu Golf Course. It's the Sports Cage. We'll be back after the news. Scott Schultz is joining us, his weekly segment here. We're doing it over the old telephone here because you're just so busy with Lakeview Insurance out on the road talking to clients, aren't you, Schultz?
Always out in the field, boots on the ground, in farmers' yards, checking out claim situations. You know, we're the ones to do it.
That's right. And seating is buzzing around the province.
Oh, so yeah. Everything's cooking. We got some heat. Things are drying up. Should be good.
Last preseason game for the Riders, and now they sit and they wait. What did you think about that Saskatoon game, the atmosphere, everything that you saw and heard?
Man, I listened on the radio. I wasn't able to make it up there, but it sounded like it was just the production, everything. It seemed like everyone was excited. It was jam-packed. But to me, it's still, no matter which way you slice it, it's still preseason. And the teams still have their agendas, no matter what the fanship excitement is. And I think they got what they needed out of that game.
Let's talk about the quarterbacks. Jack Cohn and Braden Shager. Seems that there maybe could be a battle for the 2 spot. I think there is anyway. Where do you land after preseason?
Well, I think it's always a battle, and you know, they both put out their talents there on the game, and you saw how they reacted. I think there's good camaraderie amongst the group. So I don't know. I can't put my finger on it right now. I still think there's still some analysis, and there's going to be some competition through this week coming up as they ease into their regular season prep.
Yeah, like how hard is it? And it's for all positions, but when you think about it, technically still training camp this week, and then next week they have off because there is a bye, then they're back at it, and then they play. Like you never experienced anything like that as a player, but you're kind of revved up, you're ready to go, everything's exciting, and then it's like, okay, we got a few days off here because it's bye week.
Well, absolutely, and you know, I'm not going to panic after preseason football, but I do think there's still questions about consistency and rhythm offensively, and they're going to use that time that they have to figure that out. For us to sit here in the limited offerings that we've seen as fans to pick how they're going to do this, we're not going to be able to do it. There's so much tape that they've got on practice time and what they've been able to put on tape in the actual live action. It'll be interesting, that's for sure.
Is the defensive line and pressure off the edges, because I think you talked about that last week, is that something you're still curious about and waiting to see?
Well, I thought the defensive line flashed at times. You can tell that they're really trying to play faster and more disruptive. In the preseason, I look less at sacks and more at the line of scrimmage and how they're controlling it. And are the defensive linemen getting vertical push? Are the linebackers staying clean? Those are the things that tell you if a defense is sustainable. And I think we saw that for the most part, and of what we could. It's a limited defensive package that they give you. And then the rotational depth matters. Just because of the larger field and what those D linemen are asked to do and getting to the ball, and you want to have fresh guys in there.
So it's just for on the defensive side, defensive line, it's just I don't want to say wait and see, but it's just going to take some time, like a lot of things.
Right. It's going to take some time. You can survive some average secondary play if the front four affects the quarterback consistently, and that's what the pressure on these guys is going to be. It's not, hey, we need, we need this many sacks out of this position. It's, can we get consistent pressure on the quarterback and let the back end develop? And I think we've got a great back end, by the way. So it's not as if it's shoddy play back there at all.
Speaking of that, Malcolm Bell, first rounder, it was really interesting earlier this week. Dave Thomas asked him, and he said, you know what, in the bye week, and the couple weeks we have here, I'm going to take it upon myself to learn another position. Obviously, cornerback with Tavon Campbell and what we have going on there. But that, I think, obviously, as a competitor, as a guy that's been there, to see that from a first-round pick, a young guy, to be like, he's going to invest the time to try and learn another position to help out this team. Maybe it is halfback. Maybe it's somewhere else. Positive sign regardless.
Well, 100%. And, it's the old adage, the more you can do, if you can do multiple things, you're going to ingratiate yourself to that coaching staff. Even though he is he's their number one pick, he's a high-value guy. The more you can do, it just shows the coaching staff your willingness to want to be out there on the field and make this active roster.
Do you remember anybody that you played with that was maybe in the similar position, or just an athlete that he knew it was going to be tough for him to make a certain position, so he just grinded, did whatever he had to be on a roster?
Well, I think of guys like Neil Hughes and Mike McCullough were guys that they got their initial foray onto the team through special teams and grinding and out, doing whatever they could to help the team. And I've seen Mike and Neil play different positions and just do whatever's asked of them. I can relate a little bit myself, certainly in the NFL tryouts and in the early days of the CFL tryouts where, I was going up to I can remember Craig Dickinson as a special teams assistant at San Diego asking if I could get on punt team. Just anything you can do, can I block somebody? Can I, and of course, being a big fat lineman, there wasn't too much you can do on special teams, but they appreciate when you ask.
Let's say bye week 1, we're going to talk next week because we're into bye week. Maybe we'll do some more predictions and stuff next week. But with a bye week this early, if you could go back, what would be your mindset here coming straight out of camp, whether you're a rookie or a veteran?
Just as coming out of camp and you got a bye week?
Yeah.
Well, to me, now this might not line up with everybody, but in my mind, I'm looking at, hey, this is an opportunity to get more grounded and settled in with the team that I'm at, because now you're on this team now. You've got a landing spot if you're on the team, and then I would be using all my extra time just to getting healthy and rested so that I can go out there and compete on the field. I would be using the time and I would be using the facilities to my advantage for sure.
Having it this early, do you think it's a thing where maybe guys won't go away as much, maybe down south, because they've only been here 3 weeks? I know it's tough to say, or if they do, that'll be awfully short.
Yeah, I mean, to me though, again, I don't think along the same lines as a lot of those guys. I think it would be incredibly unproductive if guys, got here for 2.5, 3 weeks, and then, by luck of the draw, we've got the spacing in between our first game, and now I'm going to bail out and go home. This is the time where now you're in your home stadium, you're in your home surroundings, you can get familiar with the training staff room, you can get familiar with the film room, and do everything you can to prepare.
I know you're starting spring camp with your school out there. I think it's Greenall.
Greenall Griffins, baby.
There we go. When I was curious to ask you about, just young football players in high school football. It's such a great game. But why are they so much better now than in our day, Schultz, when we were playing high school? Is it just the reps, the training, just the opportunities they have? Why are they just so much better?
Well, I think everything has evolved. Everything's gotten so specific. We've talked about this in our past chats, where you've got people really dialing in on their skill sets and working year round on the sport, and it's spilling over into football, of course, just like I think hockey has kind of led the way in that regard. And so, yeah, you're just seeing these kids they've just got more time on the field and more time training than we ever did.
Yeah, no, for sure. Okay, next week, like I said, we'll maybe do some predictions. I was going to ask you, have you heard anybody? Have you been invited to any of the tailgates yet for that opening weekend?
I have not been invited, and I think it's for good reason. Things could get kind of wild in the tailgate scenario for the old Schultz dog, I think. So we're gonna hold off on that. But I'm excited to see. I just want to see how it unfolds. Like what is the experience going to be at Mosaic? I can't wait.
Well, maybe now. I know there's been a few people texting in that have spots. They'll reach out and say, "Bring Schultzy by for a cold one."
You want to have a campfire chinwag at a pregame. Get me over there with some deer sausage. I'll be there for sure.
You're the guy. All right, Schultzy. Until next week. Thanks for doing this.
All right, guys. Take care.
The midweek sound off with Rider legend, the old 96er, Scott Schultz. It is brought to you by Lakeview Insurance. You can find him, lakeviewinsurance.com. If you want Schultzy to come out and maybe talk to you about your insurance needs, he can do that. And also Revive Men's Health Clinic, dealing with men's ED without surgery and without pills. You can visit revivemd.com. It is a Sports Cage on the home of the Riders, 620 CKRM. Right on. Welcome back. Sports Cage for Regina Motor Products on this Wednesday. And Regina Motor Products right now, no charge brake inspection. Save up to $120 off GM genuine parts, brake pads, and rotors. Offer ends May 31st at RMP. Curtis is with me. Big WHL game tonight. WHL, big Memorial Cup game tonight. We had heard from Turner Ottenbreit earlier, snippets from the Monday Nooner podcast interview. He wasn't a big fan of the Memorial Cup format, like a lot of teams are in the Western League that have to grind it out. But from John Keane, his Twitter today, friend of the program, big one in Kelowna tonight. Silver Tips can eliminate Kelowna with a win, but even a Silver Tips 1-goal loss gets them into the semis and forces a tiebreaker between Kelowna and Chicoutimi. Kelowna wins by 2 or more, and they are into the semis. Everett to the tiebreaker. Big game tonight. Watch that one. Watch a little Montreal, Carolina as well. Last night, the Golden Knights sweeping the Colorado Avalanche. You didn't think that was going to... No one thought that was going to happen. John Tortorella. I'd love to interview John Tortorella. He's on the list now. I'm a Torts guy. I'm a Torts guy. Here was his post-game presser.
John, I'm sure 2 months ago when you came aboard, you envisioned this possibility happening, but now that it's happened, is there a way you can sum up what the last 2 months have been for you, just going on this journey with this team?
Oh, well, first of all, I'm very fortunate to get the opportunity with Bill, George, and Kelly give me the opportunity. And after spending a couple of weeks with the team, you could tell it's a really good group. And I'm thrilled for the opportunity, thrilled to be along the ride with them. Now we're playing for I consider the first 3 rounds playoffs. The last round, that's when you play for the Stanley Cup. We have an opportunity to play for the Stanley Cup now. I'm proud of the guys.
Right side, front row, Jesse.
Jesse Granger at The Athletic. On a smaller scale, you mentioned that part of what draws you to coaching and coming back is the interaction with the players. What was the last few minutes like celebrating with the guys?
Well, I didn't stay in there. That's their time. I saw them for a couple of seconds, but that's their time. They're the ones that have the uniform on. They're the ones that have to put it on every day. So I tried to give them their freedom there.
Man, I like Torts. Let's go Montreal tonight, though. I want the Habs. I'm rooting for the Habs to win. Prairie Land Rentals text line 600 Albert Street. Anything you need to rent, or of course the Husqvarna dealer, lawn and garden, anything you need. Curtis and I had some fun earlier. I brought this up, and obviously there are a lot of Trailer Park Boys fans that listen to the Sports Cage because Bubbles' job was picking up shopping carts.
Was it?
Apparently.
Oh.
That's how I'm reading things here. There's like 4 or 5 text messages. I saw a shopping cart in my neighborhood, probably 4 or 5 blocks from the nearest grocery store. It was just stuck in some shrubs, and I got to thinking about back in the day where I grew up, saw them all the time, and Luc Mullinder came on and we talked about shopping cart. There was a guy that would pick them up. Yes, and it was a guy in a big half-ton. And he'd pick up shopping carts and then take them back. So a lot of times that community cart that you used to transport maybe your street hockey gear or whatever, somebody else was using it for something else, it was gone because Buddy picked it up. Now, I don't think that still happens. So does that shopping cart just go back to the grocery store from a Good Samaritan?
I just don't think it goes back, Barney.
It wasn't there. It wasn't there today. I saw it yesterday. I purposely drove by said shrub.
Bubbles picked it up. It says here when I Google it, Bubbles' primary job and passion in Trailer Park Boys is stealing, repairing, and reselling shopping carts.
So Dean on the text line, Prairie Line Rentals text line, Dean knows what it's all about. I'm pretty sure truck drove around my area in Regent Park in Regina to pick up carts because you got money for each one you returned. Now, some of the carts have chips in them that if you get a certain distance, the wheels will lock up. You can't take them any further, Dean in Regina. That's what I was talking about Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco where they locked up outside the Safeway. That makes sense because there's nothing but hobos around there.
All I'm hearing is I can double my profit if I steal them myself and then return them.
I'm sure they figured out that loophole. I'm sure that's been figured out somewhere. Do they lock up? I haven't taken a shop. I don't know when the last time I used a shopping cart was. Do they lock up nowadays, like at our grocery stores in our city?
Yeah, like long as you actually have those like trackers on them that you put them in a certain like area, they will lock up. But
man, it doesn't feel like a shopping cart is that advanced.
Some are, some aren't. So some of like they're quite expensive to get them with like those sensors and stuff too.
Yeah.
And they're actually quite expensive without them too, because all the steel, got a steel guy too.
Can you, while we talk, look up used shopping cart? Can a person buy a used shopping cart somewhere? eBay. Is eBay still a thing? Facebook Marketplace. What's a good used shopping cart going for, roughly?
It says.
Can I guess?
Sure.
Used?
Yeah.
$125.
You're like right on the money. It's between $75 to $150 typically for like a used shopping
Canadian?
cart.
Because that's a game changer. See,
No.
Americano. Maybe that's the thing. We need to ship these things back down south, get a 53-foot unit, do the Kramer and Newman thing, figure out if it works, get these shopping carts back down America and make more money. But yeah, I don't know. Someone must have taken the shopping cart, walked the 5 blocks, and walked it back at Good Samaritan. That's what I say. Because I don't think there's a guy that drives around anymore and grabs them.
As far as I'm going is making sure it makes it back to the cart corrals in the parking lots.
Cart corrals.
Mm-hmm.
We pushed shopping carts. You and I talked about this. We've grinded. And then I think it was Travis on the text line, or Trevor. A couple of people mentioned pushing them in the winter. See, I didn't have to do that. My job, I remember, it was July and August. It was right when Walmart opened. There was a McDonald's. We got 50% off. And one of my jobs was grabbing shopping carts. And then I figured out it's better to build bikes up at get lost building bikes instead of being shopping cart guy.
I pushed them in the winter. But, speaking of cart corrals and stuff, though, I had a what in tarnation moment once where I came to work one day and I looked inside one of the cart corrals, and you got to take a guess what was in there.
A car?
Yes, there was a Volkswagen parked in there, private parking.
Oh man,
I might actually have the photo still on my phone.
City! What a city!
You take a guess which city it was.
Lethbridge.
No, it was in BC.
Oh, I don't know. Coquitlam.
No.
I just love that name.
It was Kelowna.
Okay. Let's look. I can get Roscoe says I can get you one for $50 cash. Roscoe's going to the OK Economy in Kindersley and grabbing a shopping cart.
And Roscoe's also stealing it from you and returning it for the money for the triple profit.
And then Roscoe's got to get it to Regina. He hasn't factored in that part of the twirl yet. More Rider training camp coming up tomorrow, like I said, but we do have more Rider audio coming up. We are going to hear from young Ben Walls in a bit, but right now, a sit-down. We teased this earlier. Dave Thomas with Sam Emelis.
Sam Emelis, explain training camp 2026 for the Saskatchewan Roughriders in your eyes so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's about building, that's a whole different season from last year, so we're trying to build the good habits again. That system, the offensive system, at least for me, and creating good habits for the upcoming season.
When you look at your receiver group, obviously there is a lot of talent there. How high is the ceiling? You achieved so much last year as a group.
Yeah, I mean, I think we got another level we can achieve, especially for what we did last year. And I think guys like me, Keyshawn, Shafe, and Dale, the veteran of this group, can take it another notch. And then by doing this, we're gonna bring the other guys along. So are we excited? We know that obviously we're the champion, so other teams gonna be really gonna bring their best against us, and by doing so, we're gonna have to bring our best also.
You earned a new contract in the offseason. Does that change anything about Samuel Emelis, the receiver or the person?
Not at all. I really enjoy playing football. I love football. I love everything about it, from studying, having fun with the guys on the field. So it's just a business now. Where I'm on a contract, but football is football, and I enjoy being in Saskatchewan.
Does leadership come along with that contract though, and the expectation that you already do?
I mean, of course, but even when I was on my rookie contract, they was asking me to be a leader, and I'm still just doing the same thing. Really, I'm not going to change because of a price tag. I think my value is what it is, but I just keep being who I am and being a leader.
It's funny because someone asked me about somebody we haven't talked about enough in training camp, and it was, Samuel Emelis. He's just doing his thing. Is that a good thing?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good thing. Whenever your name is not brought up too much, that means assignment-wise, you're doing what you're doing, and you making plays when they need to be. But I'm not really looking to be under the lights or anything like this. I like seeing the other guys that don't know, like the media and stuff like this, or what it is to be a Rough Rider, have the lights. So I enjoy just being here and playing football.
3 weeks between games. How do you make sure that you are ready for June 13th?
I mean, it's gonna have to be staying in your books for sure, staying in shape. And of course bring some energy when the time finally come, and I know we're gonna have a lot of energy because it's gonna be the champion banner reveal, and obviously we want to start the season with a win so we can get things rolling on the right foot.
It's time for the Sports Ticker, brought to you by Steelcraft Doors Regina, made in Western Canada for Western Canadians.
Montreal Canadiens trying to even the series with Carolina. Around 6 p.m. is when they drop the puck in Montreal. Memorial Cup, big game tonight. Everett and Kelowna. Kelowna could be kaput. Kelowna wins big. They move in, and Everett's battling in the tiebreaker. Blue Jays, they won today in Miami. A little Hawaiian breakfast special this afternoon. 2-1. Blue Jays over the Marlins. SportsCage.com poll. How will the Toronto Blue Jays season end? Vote at SportsCage.com. It's for Regina Steelcraft Doors, made in Western Canada for Western Canada, also covering all of Saskatchewan, locations in Saskatoon and Prince Albert. Good stuff on the shopping carts, by the way, Curtis. Montreal, Carolina tonight. We did sprinkle of the day earlier. Now I just went to my trusty app on the phone, and I've been going point parlays. And somebody texted in earlier. It wasn't Benny, the Rochdale Rocket. It was somebody else asking if I got any point parlays tonight. This series I haven't been doing near as well as the Las Vegas one, and now Vegas sits. But I went Josh Anderson, Uri Slokowski, 1 point each this evening. For some reason, I went Kirby Doc goal. Got an itching that's going to be some greasy goals there. Hopefully he plays the whole game. Nick Suzuki and Ivan Demidov, a point each. So that's where I stand right now as I look through my screenshots, and then I look at Rockset 40th Anniversary Tour ticket prices, which I paused earlier.
If your sprinkles hit, it could be free Rockset tickets. Am I right?
Oh, it's joyride time, baby. More training camp coming up tomorrow. Training camp reports. Again, Dave Thomas is going to be in. Brought to you by the Red Zone Sports Bar. Just weird. And then like next week, bye week. But I'm starting to effort to bring in some, not play-by-play, so to speak, but analysts from other cities covering teams to come in and give us a lay of the land.
And a police sketch artist for bus driver number 2.
Yes, if anybody knows of a retired police sketch artist, would love to get in touch with him. We can pay him in Western pizza or something. We'd love to get in touch with him and bring him in one day with Luke. I think that'd be... Ryan texted in saying he thinks that would be one of the funniest segments of all time. I kind of agree. Still to come on this show, Prairie Golf Gems, our first episode or segment of the year, and we want you to let us know what golf courses around Saskatchewan that we should showcase this year. A lot of good ones last year, kind of out of the way, nine bangers, little 9-hole loops. This week, we're going to start it with the Waskesiu Golf Course, General Manager Tyler Baker, because it's been an interesting year up there, and I'm sure a lot of you have seen pictures and heard of things in the north. It opened today, and there are some changes at Waskesiu, so that's still to come in the program. More rider stuff coming down as well. We are going to now. This is real interesting. It's there were a lot of junior players at camp this year. I love the Peter Borsch story, and I love Borsch. So, like you look at how many junior players the last couple of years, last 3 years, all go. I've been paying more attention to it, that are being able to come to camp and actually doing things in camp, where before it was almost like, okay, well, yeah, you won some sort of contest, get to go and run with the riders for a bit. But now these guys are getting it done. Today, Dave Thomas had a chance to sit down with Ben Walls. Here it is.
Ben Walls, I want your impressions on Saskatchewan Roughrider training camp. I don't know if that still feels weird hearing that and your name in the same sentence.
Yeah, it's a little weird. I mean, it all happened so quick, but the days are long, but the weeks are short. It's been a blast being at training camp, learning so much, and I just taking every moment I don't want to take every moment for granted. It's been amazing.
Does it seem like yesterday, day one in Saskatoon?
Yeah, it seems like we just got there and just getting settled in now in Mosaic and in the facilities. It's unbelievable. It's still having to pinch myself.
It wasn't that long ago that when junior players were invited to training camp, that they were invited to training camp on a development process. It seems anything but for you and your teammate Peter Borsch with the Regina Thunder.
Yeah, we've had a lot of opportunities here with the Riders. I'm coming in, wasn't sure what to expect. I was just really wanted to learn as much as I can and bring it back to the Thunder, but we've had lots of opportunities to show what we can do, and I think we've impressed so far, so it's pretty exciting.
You definitely don't look out of place at all. How comfortable are you with the playbook and what you need to do on a day-in, day-out basis?
Yeah, I'm fairly comfortable actually. The first couple of days it was definitely a struggle, lots of long nights studying, but now as you go through the motions, get more comfortable, meet some new guys, and everyone on the team's been so welcoming to me and Peter, so it's just football, it's another day and same as always.
Do you ever have one of those moments where the ball is coming to you, it's lingering it up, and all of a sudden just before it hits your hands you're thinking, wow, that was from Trevor Harris, I better not mess this up?
100%, yeah. The first couple times I was like, oh my goodness, like just right in the right spot. Today actually Jack Cohn threw me one where he gave me a little head nod and just perfect spot every time. It's pretty special to be able to catch balls from just unbelievable quarterbacks and at the pro level. It's amazing.
Your and Peter's integration, and I don't want to say seamlessly, as there's a lot of work that goes into it, and I don't want to downplay it, but really the Regina Thunder program has set you up for success.
Absolutely, yeah. Like coming in, there's surprisingly a lot of things that are very similar for us, so it wasn't as big as a learning step as we thought it was going to be, but definitely a lot of work has been put in to get us where we are.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was day 2. You and Peter and your families were sitting in the stadium at Griffith Stadium and sitting in the stands having a conversation. I looked at Peter and said, how was that? And he goes, these guys are big. Have they gotten any smaller?
No, yeah, definitely just as big. Having to block some of the D linemen sometimes, it's like they're a little bit bigger than they are in the junior, but it's all same technique and just got to muscle it out, I guess.
So this is a unique time in camp where there's no games to prepare for. There's just evaluations taking place. Does that put more pressure on you in every rep in practice?
Yeah, absolutely. But I don't want to get too stressed out about it and just kind of take my opportunities where they come and don't look back if any mistakes or whatever. Just next play mentality and just keep moving forward.
What do you hope that you're able to take away from this training camp regardless of how it ends?
Just the details of little things. Not to say that we at the Thunder we're not detail oriented, but so far there's lots of things that I already have started to try and put into as a receiver group in Regina with the Thunder. I mean, little things to work on and that sort of thing.
Has anything surprised you about this experience?
Just that even though I've grown up following the Riders, it's a lifelong dream. They're just football players, they're just regular guys just like you and me, and they're not crazy celebrities. They're just dudes, and so are me and Peter, and it's been great.
Well, it's gone well so far. The 79 looks good on you. Thanks for doing this.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Our first in segment, Prairie Golf Gems. Out there too, just remember, you got any golf courses in Saskatchewan that you want featured on this, shoot us a line. Let us know. Text it in. Prairie Land Rentals text line 306-936-6262. Curtis and I will compile and we'll try and get to as many as we can. We're all over the province, wherever your track is that we haven't showcased before. Again, it's for Cooper Tires. Visit your Cooper Tire dealer in the province, committed to making quality tires since 1914. And Trent Dickin and his team at Flooring Superstore, whatever the flooring is, indoor, outdoor, gymnasiums, it doesn't matter. If it's flooring, Trent Dickin and his team can help you out. General Manager of the Waskesiu Golf Course, Tyler Baker, is joining us. Tyler, you've been up there your whole life. I've kind of been up there my whole life as well. I have never seen the opening this late, but nothing you could do about it. You guys just had snow that wouldn't go away. Is that correct?
Yeah. It's been a very interesting spring. And like you say, May 27 opening date is probably the latest I've ever witnessed. I know we have opened in the past earlier and then had to shut down due to conditions, snow and et cetera. But yeah, I know it's been a very interesting spring for sure.
Starting next week, too, it's a busy stretch for the course because I think you got the senior lob stick starting, and then right after that, I'll be up there for the men's lob stick. I know there's some rumors going around, but those are still good to go, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, we're with the late start, we're jumping into the season, both feet into the fire type thing, because we're going to be hopping with the senior lobstick, 256 players next week. And then, we got the men's lobstick the week after. It's going to be very, very, very busy 2 weeks. And, hopefully for the rest of the season as well.
One thing people are going to ask is conditions. When you have that much snow, what does that lend to with conditions? Greens in good shape because of the snow cover. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so actually the greens and tees came through really, really well. I would say the fairways are probably 80% right now. Because of the amount of snow and how late it stayed, some of our chemical we put on last fall kind of, I guess, has an expiry date, but it's not moldy or anything. The grass is there. It's just a little bit dormant. But I have noticed, walking the golf course, I have noticed it's really greening up, and it looks like, I'd say it looks like we're about a week behind on the fairways, but everything else is just top notch.
Right on. Yeah, and you got some warm weather coming here, so things will get juicy in a hurry. New things for the golf course this year. Something, I think it was the food and beverage. What can you tell us there?
Yes, luckily enough, we had a new food and beverage manager come in this year, Amy Hadley, who's well known around the Prince Albert area and probably even a little further. She had Amy's on second for 30 plus years. Very, very nice restaurant, very well known. So she came up And we also have a chef with her, Jenny Lassard, and they were actually able to open well before the golf course did, and they've been rocking it. The menu is really good. The food is really good. They've been really busy, and they're going to bring, a few things back to the 10th hole options, which I know everybody, is excited about. Our famous Kaisers haven't been the best the last couple of years. I can't deny that, but now they're going to bring everything back the way it used to be. And we're really very excited.
Well, we shouldn't have buried the lead. That was the lead story for right there. For anybody listening that's been to Waskesiu, because the Kaisers at the 10th for sure. But, Tyler, when we talk, and we talked last year and all that, the course wins awards year after year. It is just a fixture in the province. It is so popular. People want to play it. When people come to the province, they want to play it. I want to know, do you get stories of every year of people coming that have never played it from far and wide, and how they just rave about it?
Actually, we do. It's more indirect chatter to me, because they will spend a lot of time talking to our pro shop staff, our maintenance staff, our food and beverage staff, and our on-course player assistants that, they haven't been here. They're from, down east or the States, out west, and they come up here and they've heard about it through, because we are, we've climbed the rankings through Score Golf and some other top 100 course ratings that we're getting, a lot of popularity, and people come up and it helps. They come up here and they just love it. I know it's not a very demanding long golf course, but it's so fun to play, and the characteristics, and as I'm sure you know, Barney, even just playing in the men's lobstick, one day you could hit it great, one day not great, but it's a different course every time you play it.
Yeah, and especially where those pins are, and that's the beauty of it. Tyler, so people that are maybe listening and they're like, you know what, we wanted to go up, we haven't played it in a while, or we have never played it. Advanced bookings, how does that all work?
We do have a few different options. Obviously, the online booking system, go on our website and, create an account type thing through Chrono Golf through our website. Or they can give the pro shop a call. We do have a toll-free number. Not that anybody needs long-distance charges anymore, but it's 1-855-663-5300.
Awesome. And then the one thing that I love, and I don't get to do it all that often, maybe down the road and I'm more retired, I think the golf course, playing it in September and late in that season, it is a little quieter up there, but the changing of colors and all that, I think people that want to come play it in the fall, don't sleep on going up to Waskesiu. The weather's usually beautiful in September. And then corporate events, or anyone that wants to put together maybe a little tournament as well.
Oh, 100%. I know, we get to see it every year, and I know the one year when we hosted the lobsticks in the fall, it really, a lot of the guys that don't come up here in the fall really turn their heads and say, wow, this is beautiful. Like you say, the trees are turning color, and, we still have some very busy days in the fall, but we can be accommodating, and it's such a beautiful time of year.
I can't wait to get up there, Tyler, and I'm sure this little segment here has got people excited that are going up there or planning to go up there. Thanks so much for doing this, and see you in a couple of weeks.
That sounds great, Barney.
It was brought to you by Cooper Tires and Flooring Superstore. Trent Dick and his team, over 20 years in business. Prairie Golf Gems, Waskesiu Golf Course. The old Kaisers are coming back. Oh, if you've never been up there and played it, you got to. I say go in September. I'm a big September guy up there, even though I don't get to, like I said. But so let us know what courses around Saskatchewan that we should showcase here over the summer. We're doing this bi-weekly. Sometimes it'll be back-to-back weeks if I have holidays. But just want to shed some light on some of the beauty tracks in Saskatchewan. It's a Sports Cage, streaming through our YouTube channel at sportscage.com and on the home of local sports in Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM.
It's 6 o'clock. Good evening, mostly cloudy and 33 degrees in Regina. I'm Denis Conroy from the SAS Today newsroom with 620 CKRM News. A heat warning remains in effect across much of central, southern, and west central Saskatchewan, with temperatures in the 30s expected through Saturday morning. Environment Canada says residents should stay hydrated and replace electrolytes lost through sweating using...